very somehow unexpected, unusual circumstance that I'm here sitting in front of you. Swami Kurunandha is in India, and for me, like I was reflecting, I think I would not be here if it wasn't. I'm here to honor the 92nd birthday of Brahmrishi Swami Vishvatma Bawra Maharaj. And I see that it is by his permission that I'm here, by the permission of my Guru Maharaj and Swami Dineshwaranath, of course. And that is already telling us a lot. You know, I was asked to speak about Guru Tattva, and that is already Guru Tattva. You know, that the fact that I'm even here from a different lineage, but at the same time, there's a lot of similarity between our lineage and yours. But even if there wasn't, Guru is Guru. And just the same way as there is only one God, we could even say there's only one Guru at the end of the day. The same great Guru is behind all Gurus. And so they are all one, working together. Unfortunately, it's not so often that this kind of collaboration is seen, but this was something that struck me already the first time we had the honor of being here, just when my Gurudev made me responsible for the Netherlands for 5 years. This is my last year, perhaps, you never know. And I came here beginning of 2022, and we had the privilege to hold an event here in these premises, and I have warm memories from that time. I only met Swami Dineshwaranath a bit later, and could see the warm hospitality, sincere feeling like that we are one family, and that's how it should be. But it is somehow rare, even within Sanatana Dharma. And this is something that my Gurudev very much likes, that we work together. And this today is a beautiful symbol also that many members of the Bhakti Marga family are here, so united with the Brahmrishi family, and that is a beautiful symbol of that oneness. And the two Gurus, Brahmrishi Swami Vishvatma and my Guru, Mahaotsav, even in the names you can already see, both have Vishva inside. And Vishva, what does it mean? It means universal. So it's a reminder that the one Lord who created the universe, he's everywhere. He's present universally, and he wants us to recognize that he is everywhere. Only when we don't see that, then we start to divide, and then we start to have problems. But there's no need. Like if you have true faith, there's no competition, there is no fear, there is because the love that God is, and that the true Gurus are also, they are embodiments of that. Love always unites, love brings together. And so it's a great honor for me to be here today to speak about Guru Tattva. What does that mean? What is Tattva? Tattva, you're familiar with the term, I'm sure. It's the reality, the truth about the Guru. Something that those who don't have a Guru, they will probably struggle to understand. And this is quite widespread in the West. I sometimes make jokes, I say it's like guruphobia, you know. It's a phenomenon. A lot of people in the West, they have guruphobia. Not so much towards mundane gurus, you could say, you know, fashion gurus, management gurus. There, nobody is afraid. But when it comes to the real guru, to the spiritual guru, then people get nervous. Out of ignorance. But not only ignorance, because deep down there is a knowledge that tells you who the real guru is. And the ego inside of each of us gets nervous, gets scared when it stands in front of the real guru. That's actually when I think back, when I met my Gurudev, there was that dual feeling. There was this great joy of meeting him. In my case, it was an instant recognition. Now we even have a technical term for it in our Siddhanta, which was published this year. It's called Tattva Vedanta Siddhanta. There's a term for it. It's called Tattva, that inner recognition when you meet your guru. And I'm sure many of you had that when you met your guru, that inner feeling that you belong to the guru. And a relationship that is much older than what you can remember. It goes further back, not from this life itself. When I met my guru, and I, of course, forgive me if I speak sometimes of my guru, because I don't see any difference, you know, but I know my guru, so I speak from that perspective, knowing that your guru and my guru are one, ultimately, and it's by his permission that I'm here to share that about the guru, the universal guru. So, when I met my guru, there was that recognition, instant recognition. You know, like love at first sight, you could say. That was very, very strong. So strong that I was ready to give my life straight away, like dedicate my life. And I thought it was normal, until I realized that it's not normal. It's actually probably quite rare. But whoever connects with the Guru truly has that. At some point there is that strong recognition that comes actually not from your mind, but it comes from your soul. And you cannot say no, it's impossible. Once that awakens inside of you, it's bigger than you. But then there is also the other little me, or you, that was, and still is alive, I'm sure, which we can call the ego. And that part of me was nervous, was not feeling comfortable, wanted to run away. It's like a wild horse that realizes, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. The free roaming, doing whatever I want is over. The master will rein me in his own way. He has his ways. The master works in mysterious ways. It's really so amazing. And whoever has come across a real guru knows what I'm talking about. When I look back, there are so many, like how the master masterfully guides us along the way. And he knows everything, but he reveals just very little of what he knows. It's part of the sweetness, actually, also. Because if he showed us too much too quickly, we would again be scared and run away. So he has to be also very, very patient. merciful and very forgiving. And all these qualities a true master has. Once my Guru told me that the greater the Guru, the more humble. This is one characteristic through which you can, not that it's about measuring and comparing, but like the greater the master, the greater the humility. That is the true sign of a great master. And because they are so humble, they will not, often they're not even getting recognized, because the world at large is not humble. And so if you don't have humility yourself, how can you recognize the humility in the master? On the contrary, the master will be judged because he's misunderstood, and his immense love, which works in mysterious ways, but which often will challenge us, not the real you, not the real us, not the soul, but the ego, because there is that battle between the ego and the real you. And the master has to, if he's a real master, he will work on that. And if we are sincere about our goal of reaching God, the love of God, then we will allow the master, because it is a free choice, we are not forced, we will allow him to do the surgery on us, which often can be quite painful. You know, we use the analogy of a diamond that gets polished, or gold that is being purified. It either is very hot heat, you need heat, or you need pressure to bring out the true essence, the purity of the soul. Never is ever pure, but it is covered through lifetimes of karmic residue. And to remove that from our being, with which we have identified so much that we have forgotten who we are, only a true master can do that. And only a true devotee or disciple will stay, because it's not easy. It is challenging. Luckily, that's, I think, by grace, because that's another, if we want to talk about the essence of the Guru, he is the grace, Anugraha Shakti of God himself. So it's the grace of God that comes in the form of the Master to free us. And I can say that it's by his grace that I have that faith in him, because that's another thing that I realized early on, is that how come I have such faith? Because when I met my Guru, can you imagine, he was 20 years old, and not at all how you imagine a Guru to be. You know, he didn't have a long beard. He was young and playful, like Krishna. He came in jeans, not even in a robe. There was no big mission. But he allowed me to recognize him, and or we can say he revealed himself enough. And it's by his grace, because I didn't do anything to consciously merit that faith. It's not from this life, for sure. At the same time, it's not by chance, because all of us who have come face to face with the Guru, we also recognize that these encounters don't happen by chance. They are the result of our path up to that particular point. And that's why they say that when the student is ready, the master appears. It's not us who find the master, it's the master who finds us. Why? Because he knows us, and he sees that we are imprisoned. When you are in a prison, you can't, there's limited scope of where you can go. You can only move about in your prison cell. But the master is free, so he's not in the prison, but he has to come into the prison to take you out of the prison. And that's what he does. And he knows exactly where we are, and he knows exactly the right time when we are ready to get out of prison. Because the irony is that we are in prison by our own choice also. We start to feel comfortable in the prison. It's like a certain comfort zone. Now, when I look at the life of Brahmrishi Maharaj and Guruji's life, I see a lot of parallels also, like both in terms of the tradition that we follow. There's a connection to Sri Vaishnava tradition, Ramanuja. Many of the deities that are here on the altar, we worship the same deities. We are Bhaktas, we are Vaishnavas. We chant the divine name in slightly different ways, but there's a lot of parallels. When I look at his life, how he signs already from a young age onwards, it was a strong connection to God, we can say, that is not normal, it's unusual. There are these parallels. Then there is the parallel also, like in the name, besides the Vishva, which I already pointed out, but also the Bawra, which means being mad, madly in love with God, you can say. In the West, such saintly beings are called fools sometimes, because they like to hide their glory out of humility again. And so they are seen sometimes by the world as fools. Or they act in a seemingly mad way. When I look at my guru, like he's not a madman in that way. Like some of the saints that we have from them, we have a museum of Hindu saints that we even, like, since a few months we have an Instagram account. If you haven't seen it, I can strongly recommend it. It's very nice, like, to get a feel for the saints, and many of the saints were gurus also, so we can see the characteristic of the guru, the universal guru, through the saints. And quite a few of them, they even look a little bit crazy, and they act crazy. They're not really crazy. They're crazy in love with God, but it reminds me of, we could say, how crazy the guru works, how his working is, and how crazy he is in, like, without stop, serving and serving and serving, giving and giving and giving. It is crazy. It's beyond human comprehension. I imagine, I never had the privilege of meeting Brahmrishi Maharaj, but from what I have heard and read, I think he was also crazy in that way. To the point of exhaustion. His lifespan was below average, which is quite common, because I think the true masters and the true saints, they exhaust themselves, they give themselves completely. They are not humans like we are, but at the same time, they are also human. They are in a human body, and they use their human body to the max. And I'm a bit scared seeing my own guru now, like also he gave multiple darshans in Germany. Now he's in South Africa giving more darshans. Then he goes to more, giving more. I hope he will reach your Gurudev's age, but it's not sure because he's exhausting himself. But that's also the Guru. That's like that inexhaustible love in a way. Because even once he's no longer in the body, like in Brahmrishi's case, it's like that, doesn't mean that he's not. None of us die, that's clear, but in the case of the gurus, they are more alive, perhaps even after they left the body, because they're even less restricted. And I'm sure many of you have had experiences that show you that they are ever present. It's up to us whether we connect with them or not. And I think today is a wonderful occasion for you to remember your Guru and to connect with him. When I looked up his life, and I made myself a bit familiar with his ways, which, as I said, like are very similar to my Guru's ways. I came across 3 mottos, let's say. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's wisdom, it's love, and it's service, right? And I think I will leave you at the end, I will leave you with a little homework or request. Of course, you're free to, nobody's forced to do it, but to kind of stimulate you to renew your connection with him and to honor the path that he has already laid out, which is an eternal path, a timeless path, and a universal path. It's also the family members of Bhakti can use the same formula, because it is equally applicable and valid for us. But I'll tell you at the end. I don't know how much time I have, because I have to watch the clock. How much time? Maybe 10 minutes more? There's so much I would love to share. I could go on for hours, but the challenge is always how to pack it into the little time that we have. So I will look at my notes to see where I can what I can highlight the most. Maybe one thing that pops up is that, and my Guru has stressed that lately a lot, is like he kind of says, don't follow me. And he's in his body still, so he's alive. And of course it's good to be in the presence of the living master, of course, obviously. But at the same time, why does he say that? It's because sometimes we are too much fixated on the outside rather than on following why he came, what he wants us to understand, what he wants us to take in. And that is his teachings. So in the case of the Brahmrishi family, you have the legacy of the teachings of your Guru of your Satguru, that you can focus on, and that is how he becomes alive in your life. Because even if he was in his body and you would not follow his teachings, it's like he would be dead for you. But if he's no longer in his body, but you follow his teachings, it's like he's alive for you. So I think that is a message that I wanted to transport to you also for today. So don't let the masters come to remind us that the truth is to be found inside, and the knowledge, the wisdom part of the formula is rejuvenated through your studying, through your meditation, like the meditation on the words of the master. Because so often we hear or we listen, but we hear it, but we don't listen. There's a big difference. There's no point in just, for example, just reciting without digesting, without integrating. The true transformation comes when we listen, and that is another key virtue in relation to the Master for us as disciples, is to listen. That's the true meaning of obedience. Obedience, the very term itself, has to do with, it comes from Latin, obedire, to listen. Because we don't like obedience. The ego in us doesn't like obedience. But what it really means is to listen. If you love, and if you respect, and if you have faith, you will listen. Otherwise, the Master can't help you. It's a prerequisite. He has everything to give, but he needs us to be open. And it starts with listening, which is not so, it's easier said than done. I have my own share of painful lessons when I didn't truly listen to my Master. And it happens sometimes in very subtle ways that we miss what he's trying to tell us, or we hear what we want to hear. That's again the ego that hijacks us. We can be on the spiritual path, we can be very dedicated, but yet the ego is sneaky, has its ways of hijacking us. I call it the sattvic ego. And can deviate us from the path. But if you maintain, this is part of my homework for you at the end, is like if you maintain a daily routine, and routine again sounds boring. It's like something that but a good habit that you enjoy, which cultivates the wisdom in your life, that will strengthen your connection to your Guru. Because that's something that we learn also as we become more mature. We understand that the word, the Vakya of the Sadguru is like scripture for us. It's even more important than scripture, actually. And that's quite a statement. When we take the Vedas, when we take the Bhagavad Gita, I know that the Bhagavad Gita for you is also equally important as it is for us. To say that the word of the Guru is even more important than the Bhagavad Gita sounds maybe provocative. But when we are in front of the real Guru, the Satguru, who is he's the same as the source of the Bhagavad Gita, but a living version that can even adjust to time and space and your life circumstances. The Bhagavad Gita can't do that. Even though it is the most exquisite, wonderful scripture teaching ever given to humanity, in my opinion. But of course it is one universal teaching that is timeless, but it is fixed at the same time. It cannot adapt to you specifically as much as the Guru can. Because the Guru, who is one with Krishna, but he comes as in flesh and blood in front of you. And like Krishna himself has said in the Bhagavad Gita, fools don't recognize me just because I'm in a human body. So we should not make the same mistake also with our own Guru, just because he's in a human body. Do not see Krishna working through him. And then when he gives you an instruction, it is like the Bhagavad Gita adapted to you. And also, through the commentary of the Guru on the Bhagavad Gita, he reveals to us the depth of the Bhagavad Gita itself. So without the Guru, the Bhagavad Gita becomes, I came across like one analogy, it is like looking after a cow that cannot give milk. So you put a lot of effort, you might read the Bhagavad Gita, but there is no fruit from it. Without the Guru, it's only through the Guru that he's like the key that unlocks the deeper wisdom that is in the Bhagavad Gita and in all the scriptures. I'm sad that I cannot share with you anything that I would like to share. It's always my dilemma. So, maybe to conclude, you see that maybe you've understood by now that the Guru, and this comes across in various scriptures, like for us, for example, it is very important the Guru Gita, which is not even a Vaishnava scripture, ironically, but it's very important for us. And it clearly states who the real Guru is. Shiva, we saw a dance of Shiva, see the Shiva lingam here, Shiva on the edge. Shiva says to Parvati clearly when she asks, who is the greatest? He says the Guru. Why? Because the Guru is not different, the real Guru, from the Lord himself. He is Brahma, he is Vishnu, he is Shiva. So already there, Shiva makes it very clear. Then if you look at the Guru Granth Sahib, which we started to do daily commentary on since the beginning of this year, because in the Sikh tradition, which has a very strong Guru Bhakti, there you, right in the beginning, you see the same. The Guru Nanak makes it very clear who is the Guru. He is not different from Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And many more examples could be given. It's the highest secret that very few people understand. It is the culmination of the spiritual path itself. Especially when you're a Vaishnava, which we all are. Then we have this huge privilege of being in that relationship with the Guru. But with great privilege comes also great responsibility. So it's very, very sweet, and I can speak from experience. The relationship with the Guru is very, very sweet, but also sometimes very, very spicy. And actually the greatest blessings that I've received, and I think I imagine that it was the same with him, with Brahmrishi Maharaj, that the true Guru, everything that comes from him is actually sweet. Everything that comes from him is out of love, and everything that comes from him is a blessing. But I think the greatest blessings are the spicy blessings, and unfortunately I don't have the time now to elaborate too much, but that's something that over time in my life I have a lot of experiences with my Guru, and I started to write them down, to compile them, to set memory anchors, because over time we also tend to forget, unfortunately. We're very forgetful beings. And when I look back at my collection, I would notice that the ones that were the biggest blessings, the greatest experiences were the spicy ones. Where the master has to use special techniques, let's say, to wrestle with our non-obedient ego. But it's all sweet, actually. What I wanted to say is that over time, we recognize more and more that sweetness. And the true master is the only one who can beat us hard, who can seemingly hurt us, and our response will be, I love you so much, I love you even more than before. That is not normal. With a human being, this would never work like that. We would be, how do you say, we would, there's a term, it doesn't come right now, resent. We would resent that. But with the Guru, the more he hits you, if he has to, the more we love him, the more our faith grows. And the more we recognize his sweetness, actually. But it takes effort from our side, or it takes commitment and cultivation. So, to conclude, what I thought would be nice for you to do is to honor his legacy, is to take 1 week from today, just 1 week. It's not much, but everything step by step, and make a little commitment. Say a vow. Maybe it's too heavy. Sounds too heavy, but it's just 1 week in his honor, and to honor the 3 components of the formula: wisdom, love, and service. The wisdom, and they're all connected, as you know. So, if you cultivate wisdom, that brings out the love inside of you, it purifies you. And then the more that love grows, it will naturally turn into service, loving service. And that will bring out more love and more wisdom in you also. So it starts with cultivating the wisdom. How do you do that? One way is to study the Bhagavad Gita. How do you study the Bhagavad Gita? 1 verse at a time. So if you could make a commitment to take 1 verse for the next 7 days, just 1 verse. Every day, 1 verse of the Bhagavad Gita. And of course, take your Guru's commentary. But since I'm here today, it's still in the car actually, I wrote a set of Gita cards. If you could maybe get me it's in the bag. It's like in the back, I think, of the car. I would like to give everybody one card just to kick off your week. And then you have to continue. So that you get the first verse, and then you have, and this is with a commentary from my Gurudev, but it's the second ultimately. So I checked and I thought, okay, it's permissible, so I allow myself to do this. And then continue, please. Those of you who are willing to take the vow in honor of Brahmrishi Gurudev, and to take one verse every day of the Bhagavad Gita for the next 7 days. And even the card that you will pick now, imagine that it comes from him, that he's giving it to you, that it is his wisdom that comes to you, because the Guru is one. And prem and seva, to continue and to complete the formula, within the next 7 days, commit one act of forgiveness. Because that's the nature of the Guru. He wants you to emulate him. And so just as he was forgiving to you, please pass it on. Be forgiving to somebody. For sure, everybody can forgive someone, or even at least yourself, which is actually the hardest. But do one act of forgiveness in the next 7 days. And finally, seva. In the next 7 days, do one hidden act of seva, of service. Because it's not about being seen. True service mostly is done without anybody knowing about it. So try that. Do one act of seva that nobody knows about. And I feel that would be a lovely way to honor your Gurudev's 92nd birthday. Who is willing to participate in this vow? No pressure. You don't have to do this, but if you are willing, then raise your hand. Nice. It's between you and him. Nobody's going to check you, but if you lifted your hand, live up to your own word. So may your Gurudev's blessing be upon you, and may he carry you forward with clarity, with determination, with purity and compassion. And may he be ever present in your life and carry you to your ultimate goal of life itself. Take the cake. He will go around and he will distribute. So you and just pick one card. That card is for you. So just let yourself be guided by intuition.
Amen.